Hello, everybody. Hope you're all having a good day or night, whatever it is for you guys right now. It's pretty much night. So, look at that. We didn't actually cancel today. Put a mark on the wall. Just gotta turn this down for myself. There we go. So yeah, we're actually having our Grisaia stream today. I know, I've had to cancel how many of them for so many different reasons? But we're having it this time. Seeing as how I started it up. Anyway. Yes, we are back with Labyrinth of Grisaia for today.
Yes, we all agree. Baron is an idiot.
Thank you, Brozart. Also, hey, Brozart, how's it going? What happened last time we played Grisaia? Continue just to get more of Yuji's backstory. Of just his home life when his sister was still alive. How she was just kind of super supportive, but... Is that white noise from the title screen? There's stuff going on in the background. We got a dehumidifier going. Ooh, bitrate. What is going on? Let me close out that for a second. Looks like a minor hiccup. Yeah, it's just a dehumidifier going in the background. I've had it going on a few times on streams like this before. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of hope the game would just be loud enough to more or less drown it out a tiny, tiny bit. Okay, bitrate. What's going on right now? I mean, it's low, but it's not too bad. Whatever. It'll be fine. No worries, no worries. You got a life to live. You got a life to live. I don't expect everyone to catch every stream. It's all good. Yeah, we'll see if this should recover. Oh yeah, it'll recover, no problem. So, might look a little jank for a bit, so we'll apologize for that. It'll look better once I upload the VOD onto YouTube, because that's just straight recording. So I don't have to worry about fluctuating bit rates. Alright, everyone understand that? Got that there? If for whatever reason the stream looks like absolute ass, it will be up on YouTube a little later. Onto my VOD channel, which is just my YouTube channel. I literally just throw all my VODs there. I use YouTube as my goddamn hard drive storage for these. So is this a strict sequel, or they're all new characters? Labyrinth of Grisaia is in fact a sequel. This is a sequel to Fruit. If I go to select a scenario, it actually has after stories for every route in the previous game. It also has some short stories. I think focusing on side characters. Oh, good Christ almighty. Wow, just... Wow. Huh? I just don't even... Okay, so there's side story things that we go through. Christ, that's gonna take a while. But then there's also the main thing here. The main route of Labyrinth focuses entirely on Yuji. I don't know, man. Yeah. Which, we're going through Yuji's actual story here first. And then we'll do all the short stories and the after story, the after stories after that. Doing it in the reverse order of the routes we did back in Fruit. So, in regards to, obviously, the after stories, they take place after the routes they're supposed to be from. So this is after Yumiko's, Amane's, Michiru's, Makina's, and Sachi's. Pretty simple. Obviously. Yuji's route here is post-Fruit, but in, like, its own alternate ending. where he managed to solve everyone's issues, or at least get them to help them work out their issues, but he never committed to a relationship with any of them. So they basically went through the routes, but he was never in a relationship with any of them. Which, that's probably, again, I have said the last 2 times we streamed this. What's it been 2? That's probably the best way you can make a sequel to a visual novel like this. Because if you committed to just saying, alright, you're starting up the sequel, the canon ending was like, we'll say Yumiko. We'll say the canon ending is Yumiko. You just pissed off 4/5 of your fandom. Right there. Just from that beginning. You just pissed off 4/5 of the fandom by committing to a single girl in the sequel. But by doing it the way they did here, that still leaves it up that he could end up with any of them. I mean, they have after stories for all of them, so you're still getting more of what you wanted. So, yeah, that's just pretty cool. But yeah, to kind of catch everybody up on what's happened in the actual main route here so far, Yuji is being interviewed by JB for a potential promotion within Ichigaya. Part of said interview is actually going through his past, his literally his history. And we went through an extended part where he was talking about his sister, the one who died, and just how growing up in his household was like with her there. He kind of had a lot of good things to say about her, but how it also was just kind of helped reinforce the fact that he was considered worthless and trash by his parents because he could nowhere near, measure up to her. But she was always super supportive of him, but also a little weird about it. They had baths together, and she was making him promise to never be with a girl. It was weird, because he got some syscon going on there. Syscon, brocon, whatever it's called. Yeah, that was a thing that happened. But whatever. So yeah, he's just being interviewed. So a lot of this so far of Yuji is literally just flashback, with a few things cutting in back to the present. Yuji's telling this story to JB, but back at the school, they found the shredded remains of Yuji's first few attempts to write out his own, biography, essentially, that he was supposed to hand into them. They found the shredded remains, and due to fucking Machina and Sachi's, kind of creepy efforts, they managed to stitch it back together. So they're also reading along at the same time and learning about him. It's a thing. It's actually fairly interesting. Anywho, let's just jump right in and see how far we can get tonight. So here we go. You're abnormally adorable today, JB. Well, I was just thinking it's been a while since I had some of your coffee. Just my way of showing my gratitude. I'm waking up to the smell of miso soup pretty often these days. Maybe I'm starting to appreciate that sort of thing a little more. Well, thanks to Amane, I suppose. Yeah, that she was friends with his sister. Yeah, that happened. She also admitted that to all of the girls at the thing, too. So yeah, that was something. It was definitely those, it was that kind of they all kind of like said, a few of them said some things about some of their deep dark secret. I think Sashi also admitted that they were childhood friends, but didn't really realize, or at least he didn't realize right away, kind of thing. That was definitely them. Hey, have you only played Labyrinth? All right, here's what you missed. Here's the cliff notes of what you missed in Fruit. That she was a classmate of Kazuki's, you mean? Yeah. I only found out fairly recently, though.
彼女を恨んではいないの？
I don't think she was responsible for Kazuki's death. And either way, it's not like blaming her would bring her back to life. I mean, if you'd given me the choice between Amane and Kazuki back at the time of the accident, I would have wanted my sister to survive. But at this point, I'm seriously grateful to Kazuki for protecting her.
あなたにとってお姉さんとはどんな存在だったの？
Kazuki was Kazuki. Nothing more, nothing less. But if you really want something more conceptual, I guess I saw her as something akin to God. Dude! That's putting your sister up on way too high of a fucking pedestal. Holy shit!
神ね。
That's just how much of a kid I was. Anyway, let's keep going with that document. Eventually, my sister entered a famous private school on the wishes of our parents. Through high-quality instruction appropriate for someone of Kazuki's talents, her aesthetic would mature and evolve, bringing her art to an even higher level of sophistication. That was the idea, at least. But my sister deliberately betrayed our parents' overblown expectations, shunning Takizono Academy's Fine Arts Club in favor of the basketball team. Her grades in academic subjects and PE alike were suspiciously consistent 70s across the board. Yeah, she's purposefully dumbing herself down. She's purposefully doing it this time. She's had her... It's like she's had her fun being, top of class. Now she wants to see what it's like to be, normal, I guess. So she's doing it. She's purposely limiting herself. I think also just to kind of prove a point. Hiding her overwhelming talents, Kazuki pursued a tranquil, everyday life. That sharp tongue of hers still made a few appearances, of course. But in a school for rich young ladies, a slightly thorny attitude was nothing out of the ordinary. On top of which, Kazuki was trying very hard to come off as a pleasant, mild-mannered girl to her classmates. She managed to gather a good number of friendly acquaintances through that act. She'd pick out useful or competent girls from the group for special attention, controlling them like pawns to her own advantage. Well, controlling is probably a little too harsh. The people my sister manipulated didn't really notice it was happening. Rather than forcing them to do something, she'd subtly guide them towards certain choices. For the most part, they did exactly what Kazuki wanted without even realizing that she was influencing their actions. Alright, Kazuki's kind of fucking scary. I will say, she's kind of fucking scary. I was the only one who knew what my sister really was. That was only because she discussed her real intentions so frankly with me ever since we were young. Even our parents weren't aware they were dancing on Kazuki's strings. I was deeply, deeply afraid of her. Kazuki can't be human. Maybe she's some kind of god? I was the only one who understood my sister's true nature. But terrifying as she was, I was also completely dependent on her. I assumed that I would keep living in the palm of Kazuki's hand for many years to come. Right up until the day she left for her basketball team's summer training camp. was my sister's first summer vacation since entering Takizono Academy, following a relatively uneventful few months for our strained family. Kazuki was participating in an overnight camp as a member of the Takizono basketball team. For about a week, she'd be staying at a campground in Nagano Prefecture. She'd always been at the center of that lopsided family, counteracting the centrifugal forces that would have otherwise ripped us apart. She was the balance shaft that kept our household rotating smoothly. And now, suddenly, she was gone. That week stretched on and on. Anxiety was suffocating, inescapable. It felt as though I'd been left all alone on a sailing boat in a totally calm sea. Oh god. Oh, by the way, content warnings, everybody. I gotta remember that. Gotta remember that good old content warning. Labyrinth of Grisaia deals with some very heavy topics and situations. At any moment you feel uncomfortable watching and need to walk away or close the stream, please do so. We all understand. I hate that on my end. It's the fucking monkey with hard eyes. I hate that. Like, I hate it so much. At least, you know, here, it looks fine. It looks fine there. It was just a regular heart up on chat here. But on my fucking feed here, it's a goddamn hard eyes monkey. That doesn't fit at all with what I'm trying to say. Anyhow. Only 2 days after Kazuki left the house, my parents began to argue viciously every time they encountered each other. And if I was unfortunate enough to be somewhere nearby, it would usually end with Dad blindsiding me with harsh words and harassment that I earned simply for being a convenient target. Yeah, abuse. It's a hell of a thing. Clearly. Coffee's too damn hot. That was enough of a reason for my father to throw a mug at my head. Holy fuck. Yeah, mega content warnings. Oh, God. Every Grisaia stream needs to have content warnings at this point. It blindsides us with this stuff. It wasn't the first time something like that had happened. A few days without my sister, and we were already falling apart. Was the absence of God all it took to make people into such ugly creatures? Picking up the fragments of that shattered mug, I watched my mother sobbing potently on the floor. I found myself praying that Kazuki would come home as soon as possible. I held my breath. I made myself small, like some frightened animal burrowing deep into the ground. I tried desperately to avoid my father's wrath, waiting for my sister's return. Once Kazuki comes back, once God returns, I wouldn't have to hide myself anymore. All I had to do was keep quiet and endure. This nightmare would end eventually. I was used to enduring this sort of thing. As long as I didn't get greedy, I wouldn't get hurt. I wouldn't suffer too much. I'd just be a little lonely for a while. A little sad. It wouldn't kill me. After all, this bed of nails was only a temporary torment. That miserable week had finally passed. It was all but over now. Today, my sister was coming home. God was returning. She was never easy to deal with, but having her around sure beat the alternative. In that respect, I suppose Kazuki really was a divine presence in our lives. People who can laugh off the idea of God don't know how lucky they are. It's only an option for someone who's never found themselves completely helpless. Someone who's never looked up at the sky and screamed through their tears. And in the end, my prayers dissolved meaninglessly into the clouds. my sister didn't get back on time. At first, we assumed the bus was caught in traffic, and after a few hours, that started to seem less likely. The team's advisor, who had been in charge of the trip, wasn't answering his cell phone. We tried calling Kazuki instead, but heard only another mechanical voice, informing us that her phone was turned off or out of range. I had a bad feeling about it, as I remembered my bitter childhood fantasies of a life without Kazuki. Frightening what-ifs flitted through my mind. I could feel sweat oozing coldly out of my pores. I'd spent years daydreaming about my sister disappearing. What right did I have to expect her to come back and rescue me now? Maybe she'd finally gotten sick of my selfishness and decided to leave for good. That's simple.
Come on! Banana or banana! 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 Banana!
Pop Nemo, Pop Nemo, Pop Nemo.
Hey Nichols, how's it going? Thanks for the resub. 26 months? Holy shit! Holy crap. It's been 26 months. It's like, you know, friggin' thing. My goodness. And I'm gonna be right back, guys. Be right back. 1 sec. Sorry about that, guys. I just wanted to talk about stuff. We got things we're doing tomorrow. And also later in the week. So just wanted to clarify a few things. That was all. So I apologize for that. Yeah, thank you again, Nichols, for the 26-month resub. I appreciate that a hell of a lot. You don't have to do that, but I appreciate you to hell and back that you do. But god damn, 26. Literally, where does the time go? Just, where does it go? That sense of guilt grew heavy as a rock in the pit of my stomach when I learned that Kazuki and her classmates had vanished without a trace. It was as if their bus had been abruptly spirited off the face of the earth. Despite an all-out search effort by authorities along the route and our local police, 2 weeks crawled by with no progress whatsoever. Finally, the investigation headquarters set up by the Tokyo Metropolitan Police was dissolved, and the case was entrusted to the National Police Agency as a matter for long-term, wide-scale investigation. To put the matter more simply, they'd halfway given up on finding them. Local search efforts did continue, now personally funded by the families of the missing girls, but to no avail. Eventually there was even talk that it might have been a mass kidnapping organized by a foreign country. That's scary. And in the home to which my sister never returned, my father, his principal source of income gone, ranted and raved in a near frenzy. My mother, unable to oppose her husband, could do nothing but grieve and cry. I hid myself quietly in the shadows of our house, filled with darkness. And one night, I snuck into my sister's studio to gaze at her half-finished paintings. I am unmuted, okay. For a minute there, I thought I went through all of that without unmuting myself. I've done that. I have done that before. Oh, it's embarrassing as shit. But I've done it. I mean, what? I went an entire, what was it, like 20 minutes or so on stream while being muted? Very early on, a Tales stream. It was either I was muted or the game was muted or both. I can't remember. And then there was the Crossrays, the Gundam Crossrays thing where halfway through I had muted it to listen to something. And then no one told me I didn't unmute the game after that, and it's just like... Went through the rest of that stream with it completely muted, didn't realize until I hit end stream, was like, wait, that was muted the whole fucking time. The other day I streamed for 40 minutes without... Ooh, I'm sorry, Nichols. I am so sorry about that. Oh, that shit's the worst. But hey, what's streaming without a little bit of scuff, right? We always gotta have some scuff. My sister can't possibly be dead. Kazuki's above death. Blind faith was all I had to cling to now. Maybe this disappearance was part of my sister's plan. Maybe she was living as a totally different person somewhere, enjoying the freedom and normality she desperately longed for. These ridiculous delusions at least allowed me to hold on to some fragile shred of hope. And in the end, even that meager refuge was shattered to pieces. A single student who had been on the basketball team trip with my sister was discovered in a farmer's field, Amane, where she'd been greedily devouring cabbage after cabbage. That's right, she found a cabbage patch and just started going to town on it. Granted, she's barely eaten in 2 weeks, so, understandable. Just raw cabbage straight from the earth was good enough. The girl was emaciated and exhausted, but managed to explain the situation to the local policeman who rushed her to her hospital room. Okay. Where are we? Oh, there's the bus. On the way back, the team had taken an old, unused mountain road to avoid congestion. The tire had been punctured, and the bus plunged down a cliff in a section of the road with no guardrail. Fortunately, the bus didn't catch on fire after its tumble down the slope. But it had landed at the bottom of a deep natural hole separated from the road by thick greenery that had made discovery unlikely. And of course, their cell phones were out of range. As for leaving to summon help on their own, the walls of the valley sloped over them, making it impossible to climb back up. There was a possibility of escape through the dense virgin forest at the very bottom of the gorge. There were many wounded, and the group opted for a conservative plan of waiting for help while conserving their supplies. At the bottom of a forest so thick that light barely reached them, the team endured for 2 long weeks. Finally, their limits of physical and mental endurance long since passed. The girls mustered their last ounces of strength for a desperate escape attempt. She was the only one to get out alive. When the police resumed their search based on the survivor's testimony, they had found the fallen bus without much difficulty. It was now a crumpled wreck, lying at the bottom of a rocky gorge below an abandoned road. On the site, they had found signs of a struggle involving multiple individuals, along with numerous mutilated corpses, some already decomposed to the bone. My sister's death was officially confirmed in mid-September. The Takizono Academy bus disaster. Many details regarding this incident were deliberately concealed from the public, and the media supplemented its facts with exaggerated speculation, leading to a popular narrative that differed significantly from the truth in many respects. But at the time, I had no way of knowing that. In any case, there was only one fact that seemed relevant for the Kazumi family. The death of my sister. The death of God. It was too much to accept. My father raged, my mother wept. I actively refused to believe it. Ooh, what's going on, Bitrate? You're going a little real funky right now. I saw that. I'm having a little bit of hiccups tonight. That's okay, though. Probably the weather, honestly. Very well could just be the weather out there. It's getting colder, so we'll see how that goes with this. All else fails, I can always swap back to just using Wi-Fi. The power lines just won't hold. But it's doing good. It's doing pretty good. We're good. We're good. Kazuki can't possibly be dead. No matter how many times I repeated those childish words to myself, my sister wasn't coming back. With the passage of time, I slowly began to accept that fact, and our family began to crumble under its weight. Despair spread through the house like a cancer. The fragile bonds that had tied us together rotted away with frightening speed. My father was devastated. His overblown expectations for my sister's future had come to nothing. All the money he'd spent on her education was now just another investment gone bust. One by one, the companies which had offered financing in anticipation of Kazuki's career abandoned him. Once the last lines of credit dried up, we no longer had any real source of income. Our living conditions deteriorated visibly from week to week. My family had always been a brittle, makeshift thing. Now, with our only pillar of hope gone, that ramshackle structure gave up even trying to hold itself together. We'd lost the energy to maintain the farce. Wallowing in self-pity over his misfortune, my father began drinking heavily nearly every day. His mistreatment of my mother and me escalated into clear abuse. Jesus fuck. He hit the bars until dawn with less than savory friends, often ending up in the drunk tank for bellowing at some hapless waitress. When he did manage to stagger home, he beat Mom viciously, screaming, "I'm the master of this house!" Mom hadn't done anything wrong, but she still apologized every time he started hitting her. Jesus Christ. Once again, guys, content warning. Again and again. Desperately. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not even knowing what she was apologizing for, she groveled with her forehead to the ground, whimpering the words like a terrified animal waiting for a storm to blow past. My mother was a very weak person. The old man's words, she was a woman with nothing going for her but her looks. He seemed to think he'd done her a real favor picking her up out of the bars when she was working for lack of any other way to support herself. And I could tell that Dad never treated her particularly well. Still, she'd given birth to the golden lady. Her position as Kazuki's mother guaranteed her a fairly equal life. Now that role had been taken away from her, she had nothing left to defend herself with. And the same was true for me. There's a loud static coming from my stream. That would be our dehumidifier. It 100% has to be the dehumidifier. Okay, no, maybe not the dehumidifier. Don't know what's up with the static, though. I have to look back on that now. Do I have markers set up? Yeah. So I'll make a marker right now. I can go back to this point and check it out, see what the hell's going on. I don't know why there's suddenly static. Nothing should be fucked up, unless it could be my bitrate fluctuating and that's why you guys are getting some static. That's all I can think of. So other than that, everything's okay. Should be at least. Same was true for me. With no way to fight back, I had no choice but to endure my father's irrational violence. I was essentially a living punching bag for him to vent his anger on. One night when he came home particularly drunk, Mom pushed me into a wardrobe.
ここに隠れていなさい。お父さんはまたきっとすぐに寝てしまうから。私がいいと言うまではここから出てきてはダメよ。
I don't think she was worried about my safety for its own sake. Now that Kazuki was gone, my mother had simply grown dependent on me. I was the only ally she had left.
あなたのためにお母さん頑張るから。
Heard some audio popping like a bad mic connection. Maybe. Could be a bad mic connection. Because this thing is completely unfiltered right now. I've been keeping my mic unfiltered for the most part nowadays. Because I know the audio goes... The audio's weird if I put the noise suppression on. If I put it on, it won't pick up a lot of the stuff I try and do. It's weird. So I've just been nixing it entirely. And also just all the mic settings and stuff, that thing, it's so... That stuff is like beyond me. I'm so confused by it. I barely know what I'm doing. Could be part of the problem is every time I end stream, I literally pull the cable out, the cord out of the mic. Like I literally unplug it just because I don't want the light to be constantly flashing. Because it'll just be on, even if I'm not streaming anything. That bugs me. So I just unplug it. So maybe that's doing something to it. Hold on. It's like dusty in here. 1 second. I'm gonna unplug my mic. Kind of blow out the connections and then plug her back in. So, uno momento. Okay. Alright, it blew out the port and everything on this end. The other end, it hasn't been unplugged in a while. Well, not a while. It hasn't been really unplugged a lot, so it should be okay. Yeah, maybe this Black Friday I'll get myself a new mic. Anyone have new mic suggestions? I'm willing to take microphone suggestions. I currently have a HyperX Solocast. Unless you want me to switch back to the headset mic that literally sounds like absolute dog crap. Hold on, let me just for the hell of it, I'm gonna flip this fucker back on. Do I want to do that actually? I don't know if I want to actually do that. 'Cause I think I'll lose my actual microphone one. No, I'm not gonna mess with my settings right now. I'm not going to mess with my settings. Yeah, if anyone has any microphone suggestions, I will gladly take them into consideration. Like, what kind of microphone do you have, Nichols? Because your audio always comes in, like, super crisp and clear. I haven't heard any, like, audio popping, peaking, or any of that from on your streams. In literally the 3 years I've been subbed to you, I've heard like no audio issues. Razer Siren X? Okay. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I'm literally not kidding. Every stream I go to with yours, I never hear any issues with your mic quality at all. I don't know what settings you have on there as well, but whatever you're doing, it's like fucking perfect. Meanwhile, me struggling for 3 years to do this shit. Okay, the microphone is the one setting I'm never gonna be able to get right. I would need someone to come here and help set this up for me. I am like, this is out of my depth. I'm out of my depth with this stuff. I can only watch so many random YouTube videos saying the perfect settings for your microphone. And it never fucking works. Well, it's only been a few, minutes. If that. Well, not even, so... We'll see how it goes. Maybe that's all it needed, but I'll still probably look out for maybe a new mic in general. Just in case. I mean, it's Black Friday. You never know what I can find. I'm already in the market to look for a new CPU. It's the one thing on in my PC I can upgrade without having to change out like the entire motherboard. It's the last thing I can actually do to make this thing a little bit better. I have 32 gigs of RAM. I have a new graphics card that's better than my old one. So the CPU is the next thing I can change. So that's what I'll do, just to give this thing a little more power. I mean, it's pretty good as is. But if I can make it that tiny bit better, I'm going to make it that tiny bit better. Why not? And then, hey, I'll have a CPU. I'll have a CPU, and I currently have a graphics card sitting here on standby in case something, dies. Which, fingers crossed, it doesn't. Fingers crossed. I don't need anything bad to happen to my computer. I really should also blow my computer out, too. It's gonna be weird to blow it out now that there's fucking snow on the ground, but whatever. I should be able to get into our shed where the big compressor is and just take this fucker out there. Should probably also label all my cables so I know exactly which parts to plug them back into and not make it a guessing game every time. Good lord. Alright, anyway, let's continue on with the game. Telling herself that was probably the only way Mom could see living as anything but a source of meaningless pain. The idea of protecting her only remaining child was a convenient means of bolstering her courage against the temptation to die. We endured for 3 months, trembling at every sound from the front door once night fell. Finally, my mother could take no more, and the two of us left that hellish house hand in hand. There weren't any relatives to take us in. Mom had never held a job outside of a nightclub and knew little of the world. No real plan, we fled to Mobara and Chiba, the city where she'd grown up. She rented an apartment not far from her childhood home and told me we'd be living there as a family of 2 from now on. Only 2 weeks later, before we'd even settled in, my father tracked us down. Jesus Christ. Screaming with rage, he knocked my mother to the ground, kicking and punching her viciously. And the first time in my life, I stood up to him. Good God. Stop it, Dad! Mom didn't do anything wrong! My father's eyes went wide at my unexpected interference. Releasing his grip of his wife's hair, he turned and struck me hard in the side of the face. The impact was so strong, I could feel my brain rattle against my skull. Stunned, I fell down onto my backside. I was only a child. No matter how hard I fought, I couldn't hope to match the sheer strength of a grown man. Still, I couldn't just crawl away. Now that Kazuki was gone, it was my job to protect my mother. She was the only thing I had left. And I understood all too well how miserable it felt to have no one on your side. I clung stubbornly to my father's legs, holding on as his blows grew increasingly brutal. Mom had found the will to live by protecting me. And by taking that beating for her, it felt as though I'd discovered some point to my own existence. Maybe this was the reason I'd been born. True, I was defective compared to my sister, but now that she was gone, it wasn't so meaningless anymore. I was the backup, the one who'd bear the brunt if Kazuki died. It all felt very clear to me now. father swung his arm down furiously, catching me square in the temple. The cheap gold watch on his wrist must have struck my face. There was a dull crunching sound from my nose. Lukewarm blood began to ooze slowly down my forehead. When Mom saw the blood on my face, her voice rose to a frantic scream. That is the sound of a terrified and broken woman. Jesus. Just, yeah. In the end, Mom apologized countless times as my father ground his foot against her head, and the three of us went back home. Not to state the obvious, but Kazuki wasn't waiting for us there. Nothing had changed since we left. The god of that house was dead, and there was no replacing it. Still, for a while after we returned, my father was unusually quiet. Maybe the man was sobered by what he'd done. No. 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 I know exactly what he's fucking doing. I know exactly what he's fucking doing. Once or twice, he even apologized. But that period of relative calm didn't last long. Now, just passing through, about to watch a movie, so I thought I'd stop by for a couple of minutes. Stream will probably be over. Alright, no worries, Nevermore. Hope you're having a good day. Appreciate you swinging by for even a little while. What movie are you watching? We were quickly eating through the money Kazuki had left behind, and my father couldn't adjust to our newly meager lifestyle. His debts accumulated until we were all but buried under their weight. Feeling yucky today? I'm sorry. And as his fears about the future grew, Dad once again started to quiet his anxiety through explosions of violence. Nothing was going to change. If we stayed with this man, he was going to drag us down with him. For the second time, Mom and I decided to leave. Oh my god. Gonna watch Cinderella, favorite Christmas movie. Alright, cool, enjoy. What's everyone's favorite Christmas movies? I'll be perfectly honest, my absolute favorite has to be the old Rankin and Bass, Rudolph. I love that movie. I love that thing a lot. Is it just me? What do you mean by audio issues? What's going on? Is it just a drowning sound in the background? Because that's the dehumidifier that I have had going on stream before. You know what? Better? I turned noise suppression on. This is where my voice will cut out at times. I will tell you guys that right now. My voice will cut out at times if I keep noise suppression on. It's like a crackling on the mic, like stat. Fuck. Well, noise suppression's on now. I guess I can't go... like, it isn't fully plugged into the jack, yet it is... I've probably pulled this thing out too many times then, because this is a USB mic. Well, guess I'm gonna have to probably get a new... Or at least, at the very least, I need a new cord. Maybe not the cord, I don't know. I think this thing is a USB to USB-C. I don't have, like, any of those. I don't have any of that long enough. Well, guess I might be getting a brand new mic. Let me check on Amazon for the one you said you have, Nichols. Right here. Let's see, Amazon, what do you got for me? Oh, Black Friday deal. Okay, it's only like $80. But oh, same, literally the same price. Same dollars. Oh, excuse me. I'll probably just go over this. Yeah, fuck, you know what? We're just gonna do it. We're just gonna get a brand new mic for you. Bye now. Oh. Okay. Alright, well, I just bought a mic. I sound like I'm underwater. That would be the noise suppression. Turn the noise suppression back off. Now I should hopefully not sound like I'm underwater. Hold on, I'm gonna monitor my shit. Oh god, I hear that. Oh. Oh god. How did it get so bad? Yeah, like, how? Checking. Oh my god. Alright, it's either the mic or the freaking wire it's connected to. Regardless, I got a new one coming. 1 second, guys. Okay. Do I still have suppression? Yes, I did. Oh, good God. This sounds awful. This is using this mic now. Ew, ew. Yeah, this sounds even worse. How did I stream like this for so long?
Unless it's just too quiet. Okay, 7.2. That's just up all the way. Oh my god. Yeah, this thing sounds awful. Absolutely awful. Your vocal quality is bad, but there's no background noise. Yeah, I can tell that. Oh god, does that mean yesterday's Gundam stream sounded that shit? Ugh. Great. Just great. Okay, so it is the mic pot. Hold on. I'm gonna trace the wire here. Okay, let's trace the wire for the mic and see. Maybe it's the USB port I have it plugged into. If your computer can handle it, NVIDIA broadcasts has good filtering of room noise. Let's see, where do I got this thing going? Oh, I have it plugged. Oh yeah, I have it plugged into the keyboard. Okay, let's see. I should be able to reach something. Oh yeah, I can. Where are we? Oh god, I have such a mess of fucking wires back here. I think that's a USB port. Let's give it a shot. Okay. That's plugged back in. Let's see if I can find it.
Okay. Nope. Big old nope. Alright, so, yeah, that's not it. I sound awful. How do I sound this bad? Or do I just have to have it right in front of me, and I won't sound as bad? Great. Just great. Oh, wait, I had it set up to set. Okay, that's back to what it should be. Reduce the gain bubble, move the bike mic closer, yeah. I used to be able to have it so far away. I don't know what the hell happened. I mean, I have been trying to go with no fucking noise suppression for a while. It was sort of working. I guess this thing is dying or something. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Okay, do I sound okay? I'm monitoring, but I mean, I'm talking and hearing myself at the same time, so I can't actually hear how the quality of my voice sounds. It's a little confusing, and also kind of hard to talk over. So I'm gonna just not monitor anymore. Sounds fine? Okay. Son of a fuck. Well, regardless, I'm ordering a new mic because it never used to sound that bad. It never used to be that bad. There was always a little bit of the, a little bit of crackling here and there. Like, not crackling, just static when I had noise suppression off, but it was never to that extent. So I don't know what the hell happened. Well, regardless, new one's coming in soon. Like, next week. Sometime next, I think like Wednesday next week around there, that'll be in, so. Just have to make do with it being right here, and I do noise suppression. That's all. This looks so weird, having it like that, but it's better than using this mic, or, God forbid, God forbid, guys, I try and use... Okay, get ready for this. If I try to use the mic from the webcam, how does that sound, I wonder? Let's see, how does that sound? Sound. Yeah, no, that sounds absolutely awful. I've only ever streamed with the webcam mic once, because my headset died. I have no... Oh my... Yeah, we're not using this one. No way. Okay, we're back to the solo cast. So yeah, out of the, I guess, 2 actual options, it's either solo cast
Or the headset. Oh, this is awful. Hold on, I gotta give you guys the full true experience with this headset. I just have to, I'll turn the noise suppression off. Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys, now we're gonna get some cool kills in COD. Yeah, super cool. Follow me on the YouTubes. I'm sorry if I just blew out anyone's ears. CSGO time! Yeah, I'm switching back to the solo cast. Okay, that's the wrong thing. And...
Okay, and I gotta turn this noise suppression back on. Alright, and... Yeah, it never used to be this bad. It never used to be this bad. You guys never said anything any other time when I had the thing turned off, so it just got worse. I fucking turned it back on. Oh, I want to turn the monitoring back off. That's right. Yes. Okay. Alright, so we're all copacetic and cool with this now, right? Whatever. New mic coming in soon. Very soon. Maybe I'll get a USB hub as well. It is pretty busy behind my goddamn thing. Pretty busy behind my tower. It's a lot of shit going on. Oy vey. Alright, so I just have to have the microphone in view. I hate it, but I gotta work with what I got right now. Alright, cool. Yeah. Alright. Thanks again, guys, for saying something, too. I'd always seen it kind of ticking up that there was, you know, static, but it was always so low. I'd never seen it go that high. Oh, yeah, thanks again. Thanks a lot. Thanks for letting me know. So I'm forced to have noise suppression. Alright. So if I get it really loud, it's gonna cut out at times. Just be aware. We've had that happen a lot. It just kind of cuts out. Unless I were to put the gain down a lot and then artificially increasing the gain wouldn't do anything, would it? All I'm doing is just, you know, turning it down and then turning it back up again. That's awful. That's dumb. That's true. You guys did help me this time. Alright, we'll try to get through a little bit more of this, and then I'll end it off. Maybe if this goes to, like, a scene with, where he goes back and talks to JB, I'll probably end it there. That seems like a good spot to kind of put a pin. Alright. We'd messed up on our first try. He found us because we ran to such a familiar place. This time, we're gonna go someplace where nobody knew us. Some town we'd never even seen before. When you're trying to lay low, the basic rule is to look for an area with a large population and a high rate of residential turnover. But my mother, naturally enough, didn't know that at the time. So after a few hours transferring from train to train, seemingly at random, we arrived somewhere in the rural southwest of Gunma Prefecture. I guess I ran a bit longer before the movie. I had the DVD, so it starts on my time. Alright, cool. I don't recall it too clearly. I was still a child being pulled along by his mother, and it was all a little overwhelming. But I do remember it was a quiet country town about 40 minutes from the central Takasaki station. Mom had walked out the door with nothing but the clothes on her back, telling my father she was taking me shopping. Given the circumstances, we hadn't been able to take much money. At a small real estate agency on the outskirts of town, nearly half of our escape fund vanished for the deposit on a one-story rental house.
ここが今日から私とユージの住むお家よ。
Uh-huh, okay. And how long until the dickhole father finds you again? Mom wanted privacy from the neighbors, but renting a detached house had been a real financial stretch. The place we found hadn't been inhabited in years. It was as desolate and dusty as a haunted house. It wasn't even a flush toilet. In itself, it wasn't exactly the most pleasant place you could call home, but the only thing that really mattered was that Mom and I had it to ourselves. Dad wasn't there. That was enough to make even a shabby house feel like paradise. Mom had her name removed from our old certificate of residence and appealed to have our change of address information restricted, given her status as a victim of domestic violence. After explaining the circumstances to the local school, she handled the procedures for my transfer as well. We had a home, I had a school to attend. We barely had time to catch our breath before the main problem reared its ugly head. To put it simply, there was no money. After a week spent sighing at her rapidly thinning wallet, Mom steeled herself and went out to find employment. Her days were spent working part-time at a canning factory. Her nights as a hostess in a snack bar near the station.
もうね、私にはユージしか残ってないの。あなたが一人前になって自分で働いて暮らしていけるようになるまでは私が頑張るから何も心配しなくていいのよ。
Mom was orphaned so young that her education effectively ended before she left middle school. Determined to keep me from suffering the same hardships, she threw herself into a grueling work schedule. In the mornings, I left the house with her when she headed out for her part-time job at the cannery. As we walked together, Mom pushing along a beat-up old bicycle she'd bought used, our neighbors would stare with undisguised hostility and whisper to each other. The woman who ran away from the city to ditch her husband. That was the only name they knew my mother by in that insular little town. When someone said, "that woman" in our neighborhood, there was no mistaking who they meant.
おはようございます。
When she greeted them, there was no response. But once we passed by, we could hear whispers from behind our back. What was that? I remember becoming her friend. And if Mom opted for nothing but a silent nod instead, it would be, I can't tell what's going on inside that woman's head. When you get right down to it, they didn't like having some strange outsider and her child in their neighborhood. The place had that quasi-medieval atmosphere typical of small rural towns. Just the fact that we'd come from Tokyo seemed to invite hatred. And it certainly didn't help that Mom was a single mother with no local ties. We were more or less ostracized. Seasons changed, but the eyes of our neighbors never grew any warmer. The only locals who welcomed my mother's arrival were the male customers at the snack bar by the station. That night job must have contributed to her negative reputation as well. One day, a classmate at school used a word I'd never heard before. I honestly didn't know what it meant. So when I got home that afternoon, I asked my mother. Oh. Oh. That is something. I think he's like only 10 as well. Oh, God. Just, someone told me your mom's a whore at school today. What does that mean? Sometimes innocence can be crueler than malice. Meeting my gaze, Mom forced a quavery, defeated smile onto her face and said only, "I'm sorry."
ごめんね、ユージ。ごめんなさい。
I didn't have the first idea why she was apologizing to me. It was more irritating than anything else. But I did understand that I must have said something I shouldn't have. What does Mom have to apologize for anyway? She's protecting me, isn't she? Mom was working hard to support the two of us. She didn't have a thing to be ashamed of. There was no reason for her to be sorry. Even as a child, well, maybe exactly because I was a child, I believe that absolutely. My mother was a kind person. No one treated her kindly. She'd finally managed to escape Dad. She was still apologizing every time she opened her mouth. Very quickly, I learned to hate the words, "I'm sorry." Now yeah, he did say that. He has said that in his other routes. Oh god, I still have the flashlight on my phone on. Good job, me. Good job, me. Well, at least, I got a new mic coming at least, so I think something is going on with either the mic or the cord. It could just be the cord, but I'd rather swap out the mic entirely, too. Might as well. At least it's on its way. I wanted to grow up right away. Watching my mother sacrifice herself to keep me fed was just too frustrating. I needed to become an adult so I could help her too. At that young age, I was already starting to strain for something like self-sufficiency. Still, there wasn't much I could actually do to contribute. With the exception of washing the rice and setting our cooker, Mom came home drunk from her bar. To be honest, my mother wasn't the best cook even when she was sober. Back when she was living on her own as a hostess with a nocturnal lifestyle, she mainly got by on convenience store lunches and the snacks her customers bought her at work. Even after she married and became a mother, usually ate out or had something delivered. It was pretty rare for her to make an actual meal. When she told me we were going to cook for ourselves from now on to save money, all I could think of was, I wonder how long that's gonna last. As it turns out, our dinners were mostly canned food Mom took home from her part-time job plopped onto a plate, supplemented by very basic stir-fried or boiled dishes. And late in the month, as our money ran low, waiting for the next paycheck, there were days when we had nothing but fried rice on our table.
今日はこれしかないの。ごめんね。
It was a shoddy-looking lump of rice with fish paste or frozen vegetables as the only other ingredients. But I was used to simple food. I didn't mind the taste. The only thing I hated about those meals was hearing my mother apologize as she put them on the table. Every time she reflexively muttered, "I'm sorry," I thought of all the times she said that phrase before. A chain of meaningless words stretched back into the past. It made me sad for reasons I couldn't express. It carried on like that for a full year. Oh my god, they managed to last a full year away from that fucker? Nice. But he eventually found him, right? It definitely wasn't an easy situation, but I tried to lessen my mother's burden by adjusting to our frugal new lifestyle as best I could. I didn't need anything more. Well, a decently sized fridge would have made things a little more convenient. Not exactly a Charles Dickens novel. Just a humble life. It wasn't so bad. I could go through my daily routine without causing problems for someone else. I had enough food that I wouldn't starve. When I was injured or sick, I could go to the doctor. The two of us just had to scrape along like this for a while. Eventually, I'd start working, and we'd be able to afford a little more in the way of luxuries. Yep. But just as that modest hope was starting to take root in my heart, it was ripped away by a terror I'd nearly managed to forget. Dad found us again. He appeared abruptly one evening, just as my mother was putting on her makeup in preparation for her night job at the snack bar.
絶対に探し出すと言っただろうが。
I had no idea how he discovered our whereabouts. But at that moment, I was less shocked by my father's sudden arrival than by how dramatically he had changed. The stench of alcohol wafted from his body, stinging my nose. He'd always been a slender man. Now his cheeks were hollow. His clouded eyes, sunken deep in their sockets, reflected the dim electric light with a sickly sheen. Oh god. He's just been living in and out of a bottle for a year because of them. Stewing. Ah, now he's bringing it all out to the forefront. Great. This isn't going to end well. Glaring at the two of us as we stood there in shock, Father pushed his way into the room. And taking Mom's wallet from her handbag, he pulled out the 3,000 yen bills remaining inside and thrust them toward me.
酒を買ってこい。できるだけ強いやつだ。
Taking the 3 bills he'd practically slapped onto my chest, I looked at my mother with pleading eyes. What do we do? What should I do? Just say the word. Tell me to fight, and I'll throw myself at him with the slightest hesitation. Or without the slightest hesitation. Mom answered my unspoken words with the pitifully artificial smile I knew so well.
ごめんね、ユージ。お願い、お酒買ってきてくれる？
Yeah, like they're gonna sell it to a kid. That smile made me incredibly sad. A year earlier, just before Mom and I fled, my father had owed his creditors about 32 million yen. Holy fuck! I have no way of knowing exactly how the man spent that year, but it's probably safe to assume he kept up a less than responsible lifestyle. In fact, it seems he sunk so deeply into self-indulgence that his debt ballooned to many times its original size. Oh my god. This man literally is gonna owe millions upon millions. And just to top things off, his latent alcoholism had returned with a vengeance. The man had ignored us totally for a year after our escape. Why track us down now? What was the point? I have to assume he was looking for money. Not that we had any to give him, of course. Mom had apparently been putting aside what little she could in hopes of sending me to college, but we were struggling just to keep food on the table. Everything we had in the world wouldn't have made a dent in the amount he owed. It was indescribably frustrating to buy that man alcohol with money Mom and I had saved by pinching every penny. Still, neither of us knew how to fight back. As I returned home after buying a 2-liter bottle of soju at the neighborhood supermarket, a grimy little K car parked near our house caught my eye. Oh god. On my way out, still reeling from shock, I hadn't even noticed it was there. It must have been the vehicle my father had driven here. Had he sold off the foreign car he used to own for some quick cash? Peering in the window as I passed, I can make out a pile of empty Chuhai cans and a dirty blanket inside. Oh, he's been living inside his car. My father just might have been living in that thing. Pathetic. A man who drove a car like that had sunk his claws into us yet again. What was going to happen to me and Mom now? Even for a child, the thought was enough to prompt a nauseating wave of fear and disgust. Hate him. Wish he'd just die. The words oozed up from somewhere deep inside me like toxic sludge. A shiver ran down my spine. When you wish for something like that, it might come back to haunt you someday. Just like when my sister died. I'll regret it in the end. Oh no. Oh no, this is his, like, weird coping mechanism of, no, it's my killing hand. Regret it? Really? Would I really feel anything if that leech of a man ended up dead? Just knowing that I'd bought that bottle of alcohol for him, I could barely keep myself from smashing it against the ground. How much could I regret the death of someone like that, someone like him? I don't know. Damn. I squeezed the bottle of soju tightly and bit my lower lip, trying to calm down. Then in that moment, I heard glass breaking inside the house and Mom screamed. Mom? A bewildering storm of emotions surged through me. Uncertainty, fear, anger. But even so, I knew I had to help Mom. Rushing forward in a panic, I burst into the house.
お前は金の卵を産むガチョウだ。もう一度天才を産ませてやる。そうすりゃ、俺はまた。
Oh yeah, even back in I think it was Maki's route. He said he he's like a voice in his left hand made him kill people, and it talked to him. We had an entire scene where he talked to himself. Also, what the fuck? Is he trying to do what I think he's trying to do? Oh boy. Okay. Not likey this. Oh god. Yeah, that's exactly what I think he's trying to do. When I pushed open the door, I was greeted by the sight of my father, his eyes bloodshot and clouded with madness, forcibly pressing my mother against the ground. Is he going to unalive? Maybe. Probably he does it before he completes the act he wants to complete right now. With the mother. Mom. Yep, Yep, that's happening.
ユージ、てめえちゃんと酒は買ってきたのか?
I...
買ってきたんなら、それ、そこに置いて、てめえは出てけ。しばらく帰ってくるんじゃねえぞ。
Oh, I know feel good right now. Stop it, Dad. What are you doing to her?
うるせえ、ぶっ飛ばされてえのか。とっととどっか行け。外で遊んでこい、クソガキが。
ユージ、行きなさい。私なら大丈夫だから。
まともに子育てもできなかったお前が一丁前に母親面してんじゃねえよ。
Roaring with anger, my father smacked Mom in the face. Even as she cried out, my mother forced that pathetic excuse for a smile onto her face, her eyes pleading for me to flee. The bitter taste of helplessness filling my mouth, I left the bottle of alcohol on the tatami mat, turned my back, and ran out the door. Oh my god. I mean, he's a kid. Can't expect him to do anything. But, like, what could a kid do in a situation like this? This is uncomfy, guys. But I gotta get through it. I ran away. I abandoned my mother. I couldn't stop him. I was a child. What else was I supposed to do? The excuses came easily enough, but I was still ashamed of myself. All that talk about helping my mother. In the end, I deserted her. What if something terrible happened to Mom? Stupid. Something terrible already was happening. Mom was crying. She was crying over her own powerlessness. I wasn't any different. Even as I watched Mom suffering, I cringed at my father's rage. And then I ran away without doing a thing. Without even trying. At this rate, nothing was going to change. No one was ever going to save us. Our neighbors hated trouble. They'd probably slam the door in my face if I asked for help. I thought about going to the police, but if we made this into something serious, we'd end up being forced to move all over again. Just the thought of it was frustrating. And the thought of some bored policeman in a dingy little station sneering, "Can't solve your own family squabbles?" It's downright infuriating. What would Kazuki have done at a time like this? Of course, she would have used her head and come up with some clever solution to fix everything. But I was no genius. Idiots can't solve their problems in one neat stroke. Still, even an idiot can learn how to blunder their way forward eventually. Even if it didn't work the first time, we could just look for another chance to run away from Dad. We just have to start over again from square one, as many times as it took. Holding on to that newfound determination, I stopped in my tracks and headed back toward the house as fast as I could manage. I was worried about my mother. I could see her being beaten, punched, kicked, apologizing again and again, answered by more blows. My imagination urged me on until my legs couldn't keep up. Frustration built inside me with every stride. By the time I reached home, my heart was pumping like an alarm bell, and my mind was simmering with anger. I slipped quietly into the house, trying not to give myself away. And inside, I found my mother pinned to the ground underneath my father. Oh, God. Mom.
相変わらずいい体してるぜ、お前は。
Oh, fuck. The room was filled with a choking animal stink. In the light of the setting sun slanting in through the window, I could see my mother's face. Her eyes were unfocused. Oh, God. Yep, she's given up. Okay, God fucking... I hate this man. I hate this guy. I hate this. And when I took in the sight of my father biting at her neck with an expression of deranged pleasure on his face, the first thought to pop into my head was a childish misunderstanding. He's eating her! Oh my God. Stop it! Get off her!
ああ、てめえ何戻ってきてんだよ。しばらく帰ってくんなって言っただろうが。邪魔すんな、このクソガキが。
When I jumped forward instinctively to pull Dad away, he hit me with all his strength. The ruthless backhand blow smashed into the side of my face. As I fell stunned to the ground, I can remember feeling some strange object inside my mouth. You just had your teeth you had some teeth knocked out, wasn't it? Yep. The instant I realized it was a fragment of a broken tooth, I lost consciousness. Jesus Christ. Okay, that is not good. Him being knocked out for an hour. That's no bueno. That is no bueno. Like, oh my God. Okay, I just can't, guys. I can't right now. I'm going to... How much progress have we made? 8%. We've made 8%. We're 8% through his route. I like that there's percentages for this, but fuck. Really? Only 8% through the game? Well, this part of the game, we still have the after stories to go. Yeah, this is all I can handle for today, guys. That's just it. I can't right now. That's a little much. That's a little much for me. I know I got content warnings on there, but fuck. Yeah, this is a bit heavy. Taking a break. Definitely taking a break from this for the day. Just putting that pin in it. Go back to it later when we've kind of refreshed from it. Speaking of schedule, I have Grisaia down for tomorrow, but I have to cancel that. Yeah. Apologies. Just because we're doing something, like I said, it's part of why my girlfriend called earlier. we're doing something that around that time tomorrow, so I won't be able to stream Grisaia. So I apologize for that. However, I'm more than likely going to change the Saturday stream from G Generation Genesis to Grisaia to make up for it. And that'll more than likely end up being in the afternoon also. So I'll work out all the details, so no stream tomorrow now, but I'll make that up on Saturday. Just so I can afford to miss some, Gundam streams. I've already canceled too many Grisaia streams. So that's how it'll be. So Tuesday stream is going to get moved to Saturday. And so I'll be off tomorrow. Okay. That takes care of the logistical parts there. So yeah, thanks, everyone for just literally everything, watching, commenting, lurking. Thanks again, Nichols, for the resub. Appreciate it very, very much. Oh, hey, Mari. I didn't realize you were there. Hope your day's been going well. Mine's been weird. Lurky boy today? No worries. We appreciate that. We appreciate our lurkers. We love them. I do still want to do it all on stream. That was just a lot happening in a short amount of time. That was just a bit much. Oh, I hope it hasn't been too weird. That was basically... Well, we basically just went through an entire bit of domestic abuse, ending with, not so consensual coitus happening. Yeah. Yeah. And also finding out apparently my mic is, fucked. My mic is fucky now. I have to have it this close to me and with noise suppression on so it doesn't sound like ass. You wanna know what it sounds like without, noise suppression now, Mari? Oh, now it looks okay. Let me monitor it for a second. 'Cause it doesn't show too much. Okay, it's very, very slightly there now. But before, it was like, you know how loud I'm talking? That's how loud the static was. It sounded absolutely awful. Also, apparently I sound like I'm underwater. Do I sound like I'm underwater when I have this? Yeah. So my mic has gone fucky. So I have to have noise suppression on and have it this close to me now. I have another mic on the way, though. I did order one. Ordered a different one now. A, Ryzen Siren V2X, because I guess the X doesn't exist anymore. So I have a Ryzen mic coming in. A new one. So I'll have to retire the HyperX Solo Cast. So that'll be in sometime next week. Oh my god. Okay, before I end, because you weren't here for Mari, you get to hear how I sound on all the other mics I have. Because it's just too good. It's too fucking good.
How about I use the good old headset mic here? I totally sound fine, right? Just hold on, I gotta play some good old, Halo and stuff. I gotta be good to get the YouTube famous. That's just the MLG mic.
And then there's the microphone on my webcam. The one all the way over here. This thing is ass. I streamed with it once because my headset broke, and looking back at the VOD, fuck. How do they sound so different from each other? I don't know, honestly.
I don't know why they sound so different from each other. Seriously, I have no idea why they sound so fucking different. I'd believe if you were switching filters. No. No, I'm not. I'm literally just switching mics. I mean, webcam mic is a webcam mic. It's gonna sound like ass. This thing just sounded like ass from the beginning. I mean, it's a headset mic. I mean, well, then again, the first headset mic I had was pretty good. But this thing has just been kind of bad in comparison. And, I mean, this thing is pretty good, but now it's going to shit. Hence why it's now in frame. It used to be all the way over here, out of frame. But I guess I wasn't sounding too great like that, so... in frame it is. I also do not know what I'm doing with mic settings. I literally don't know. I try so hard to figure it out, and I just can't. Putting on noise suppression, like, that's it. That's like the most I'm able to fucking do right now. I'm lost when it comes to audio. Specifically this kind of audio. I figured out the audio stuff for, you know, all that stuff. I can send you some general settings if you like. Sure, I'll take it. I'll take it. We'll see what happens with it. I've watched so many damn videos, it's just... it never seemed to work. And every time I thought it sounded fine, then it's like, oh... yeah, full disclosure, this has always been the weakest part. This has always been my weakest part when it comes to stream. It's just my mic setup. Mic setup, mic settings, all of that. This has always been my weakest point. Everything else I'm pretty good for. Everything else I figured out fine. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind sending me some like general settings, I could probably use them for the new mic that's coming in. So, yeah. I'll just have to use the mic as it is like this until then, which is fine. Thanks, Mari. You're awesome. Also, if you're not done so, please go check out and follow Mari. It's a wonderful, wonderful, you know, VTuber and friend. Plays a wide variety of games. Knows just about everything there is to know about Arthur. You know, the book series and TV series by Mark Brown. So please do check her out. She's absolutely amazing. Dare you now never tell you? Fuck! Doesn't matter. It was worth it. It was worth it to give you that little love. I know they were in here earlier, so please also, if you have not checked out Nichols, please do so. They play quite a variety of games, a lot of point-and-click stuff, and also some more comfy, like, sim-type games. Like, I know they're playing through Palia right now, and I think they're trying to finish off Phoenix Wright. So yeah, if you wanna check out Nichols, please do so as well. Another one of my great friends. You're welcome, Mari. I know I'm your hoe. But with that said, I am gonna be going for sure now. So again, thanks everyone for literally everything. Next time you guys will see me on stream, I think it was Wednesday, right? Yeah, it'll be Wednesday because I'm canceling tomorrow's and moving it to Saturday. So Wednesday, 10 for some Gundam. We'll see how it goes with me having the noise filter. Maybe the voices I do probably won't be picked up as much, but we will work with what we got. We'll work with it. If I have to go back to this shit mic, I will go back to that shit mic. We'll see. So, I hope everyone has themselves a great rest of their night. I'll see y'all next time.